Are you here to sweep the floors or just lost? The words hit like a slap, loud, careless, weaponized. The security scanner beeped. Forks paused midair in the cafe across the lobby. A baby stopped crying. Shoes scuffed to a halt, unpolished. Marble. The black man standing in the entryway didn't flinch. Three-piece navy suit, clean fade. Leather case in his left hand. Calm, measured breath. Officer Jennings stepped forward, smirking. I said this entrance is for officials, not delivery guys. Man's voice, flat. I know where I'm going. Jennings laughed. Loud enough for the nearby interns to glance over. Bet you do. Let me guess, trying to represent yourself today, huh? He raised a hand to block him. Let's go side entrance. Now? Man didn't budge, didn't blink. Just looked at the badge clipped to the officer's chest. Then at the weapon on his belt. Sir, Jennings pressed, louder now, I gave you an order. Man calmly opened his coat. Jennings stepped back, hand flicked toward his holster. Hey! Don't you? The man held up a small dark leather case. Opened it, slowly. No sudden moves. Inside. A federal judiciary badge. Immaculate, gleaming. Judge Elijah Brooks, he said evenly. 10th Circuit. Are you done? Jennings froze. Color drained from his face. Two nearby guards stiffened. The front desk clerk stood up. Jennings glanced at the badge. Then back at Brooks. You're the one you just tried to humiliate. In front of 3 interns, 2 attorneys, and an entire courthouse lobby. The room was ice now. People weren't whispering. They were watching. Jennings' voice cracked. Sir, I didn't mean. You did. Brooks stepped forward. Jennings instinctively moved aside. Too late. The damage was done. Tell your supervisor, Brooks added quietly. I'll be filing an official report. But don't worry. He turned ever so slightly so everyone behind him could hear. I don't sue for ignorance. Just make sure it doesn't sit on the bench. One intern choked back a breath. Another whispered, Oh my God. Jennings stood stiff, red-faced, still holding his hand half-raised. He couldn't look away. Couldn't undo it. Brooks didn't look back. He walked through the metal detector, slow and unshaken. The scanner beeped once, and the building remembered how to breathe. Men like you don't run courtrooms, Brooks. Men like you stand in front of the bench. The line hit like cold steel. The room froze, no murmurs, no coughs, just silence thick as dust on old case files. Judge Brooks didn't react. Not with his eyes. Not with his breath. He just kept gently spinning the pen between his fingers. His voice, flat, controlled. You've said enough, Mr. Worth. Let's return to the case. Prosecutor Dean Worth didn't move. He stood with the swagger of someone who'd always owned the room, just reminding the court, Your Honor, that respect is earned through experience, through legacy. Brooks didn't blink. Is your witness present? Dean smirked, voice dipped in venom. My witness already knows which way this case is going, who's steering it. A few heads turned. One court reporter's fingers froze mid-type. Judge Brooks placed his pen down slow, surgical. Then stood. The air shifted. The gallery leaned in. You've been prosecuting cases in this courtroom for 12 years, Mr. Worth. Dean nodded. That's right. And in those 12 years, today is your first time standing before a black judge? Dead silence. Dean's voice came out strained. I didn't mean it that way. Didn't you? Brooks stepped forward. Just once. The courtroom didn't breathe. Then clarify, when you said men like me, what exactly did you mean? No answer. Just the sound of someone nervously uncapping a water bottle. Dean shifted. Sweat gathering at his brow. Brooks didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. I didn't strip you of your credentials. Or your voice. Just your illusion of superiority. Two junior attorneys looked down at their notepads. A senior judge paused in the doorway, watching now. Brooks gathered the papers with measured calm. This hearing is adjourned. Then eyes. Sweeping the room. Until the next session. This court will relearn what dignity sounds like. No one spoke. Not even after the door closed quietly behind him. Did you see what he said to Worth? Nah, I heard it. Bro, he didn't raise his voice, he lowered the whole room. The courthouse cafeteria buzzed like a live wire. Booths were full. Coffee cups half stirred. Conversations bubbling just low enough to feel dangerous. One intern, pale and wide-eyed, leaned in over his sandwich. He made Worth look like a student. In his own class. Another snorted. Yeah, and now the man's probably writing a 6-page complaint to the Judicial Review Board. Laughter. But not all of it was mocking. Some held a different tone, measured, thoughtful. A janitor passed by with a mop, paused, and whispered, "About time someone shut that man up." In the judge's chambers upstairs, the tone was different. Judge Leland, mid-60s, polished shoes, perfect posture, closed his office door. "We've got a situation," he muttered. His clerk raised an eyebrow. "Sir?" "Brooks." "The black judge?" "The new black judge," Leland corrected, voice tight. "He just humiliated Dean Worth in open court, calmly, publicly." The clerk opened her mouth, hesitated. "And?" Leland's gaze sharpened. "And he just shifted the axis of this building. Worth's not some rookie. That's 12 years. Of courtroom weight he just knocked over like a file folder." Meanwhile, in a parking lot 2 blocks away, Worth sat and his car steering wheel gripped tight. His phone buzzed. Another text. Another meme. When the judge makes you sit down. Without raising his voice, Judge Brooks, calm as hell, lethal as law. He threw the phone against the passenger seat. "He embarrassed me. He cornered me in front of everyone." His voice dropped to a whisper. "That seat should have been mine." Back inside the courthouse, the front desk clerk watched as judge. Brooks passed again, silent, composed. She didn't speak, but her posture straightened. The same officer Jennings stood by the scanner, suddenly more polite. He nodded stiffly. Didn't speak. Didn't move, but Judge Brooks noticed the silence, the avoidance. The whisper behind the potted plant as he walked past. He just kept walking. Case files in hand. Eyes ahead. Later that afternoon, a message slid across a group chat. "That clip from court? Who posted it?" "IDK, but it's got 7.2K views already." By evening, a viral TikTok surfaced. 10 seconds of courtroom tension. No music. Just the moment Brooks asked, "Then clarify. When you said men like me, what exactly did you mean?" And the silence that followed. Not everyone was laughing. Some were taking notes. Some were watching. Judge Brooks a little differently now. We need to talk about Judge Brooks. The words dropped like a gavel inside a closed-door conference room on the 4th floor. Polished table. Dim lights. 6 men in suits. One woman silently taking notes. Judge Leland leaned forward. He's making waves, fast and loud without ever raising his voice. The head of Courthouse HR frowned. What exactly has he done wrong? That's the problem, Leland snapped. Nothing. And it's making everyone else look exposed. Another voice soft from the corner. He embarrassed Worth, undermined Jennings. And now he's walking through this place like he belongs. That confidence? It's unsettling people. Or, the woman said flatly, he's just doing his job. Better than most. No one replied. Elsewhere, in the security office, Officer Jennings reviewed footage, paused it, replayed it, watched himself get shut down in 7 seconds flat, slammed the keyboard. He set me up. Knew exactly how to make me look like the villain. A fellow guard muttered, "You were the villain, man." Jennings turned. "Say that again?" "Nah, I'm good." The guard left his coffee half drunk and walked out. Meanwhile, Brooks sat in his chambers still, focused. The walls around him thick with case law, ethics journals, and a single-framed quote, "Dignity doesn't raise its voice. It lets silence do the screaming." His clerk entered, quiet, respectful. She spoke without small talk. "Sir, they've—" started whispering upstairs. He didn't look up. Just said, "They were whispering before I arrived. I just gave them something to say." She nodded. "But then, there's talk of a formal review. Not official yet, but Dean Worth may file something with the board." Brooks finally looked up, calm as ever. Let him. At lunch, a reporter cornered an administrator in the hallway. "Off the record, what's really happening with Judge Brooks?" "Depends who you ask." The admin leaned in. "Some think he's too bold. Others think he's exactly what this place needs." "And you?" The administrator smiled. "I think the system's scared of a man who doesn't blink." By afternoon, an email surfaced, anonymous sender, no subject. Just an attachment, allegations, rumors, old photos from college, disciplinary warnings that never happened. The subject line read, "Background check, Brooks, E." But the clerk who received it didn't forward it. She deleted it. She'd seen how he treated the janitors, the interns, her, with the same steady tone. No games, no fake stot, and upstairs, in another chamber, a senior judge shook his head. There. Going to try to bury him in bureaucracy. His clerk asked, "Can they?" He paused, then said quietly, "Only if he lets them." Brooks, meanwhile, sat with a cup of tea and the next case filed. No fear. No rush. He just turned the page. He's not going to survive this one. Someone whispered outside courtroom 12B. Too messy. Too political. They gave him this case to bury him. Inside, the gallery was full. Reporters in the back. 3 city officials on the front bench. Even Dean Worth sat in, arms folded. The case? A real estate fraud scandal, one that had already taken down 2 previous judges through mistrials and media chaos. Judge Brooks entered, silent as ever. No robes flapping, no folders slamming. Just calm steps and a sharp gaze. Court is now in session. For the next 6 hours he barely spoke. Let evidence speak louder. Questioned attorneys with surgical precision. Objection. Sustained. Clarify your timeline. Let the witness finish. No outbursts, no bias, no weakness. Even Worth shifted once in his chair. At 4:17 p.m., Judge Brooks folded his hands. This court finds sufficient evidence of deliberate fraud by the defendants. Charges stand. Bail denied. And then, without pause, further. The court refers Attorney Franklin's conduct during proceedings to the Bar Association for disciplinary review. Gasps. Stunned silence. Franklin turned red. Your Honor, that's outrageous. Brooks didn't flinch. Sir, your timeline manipulation was caught on record, and your co-counsel failed to disclose it. The court has no room for theatrical lawyers. He slammed the file shut. Once, firm. We are done here. Outside, the hallway buzzed like a power line. One reporter muttered to another, he made it look effortless. I've never seen a courtroom stay that quiet for that long. It wasn't fear. It was respect. Upstairs, Judge Leland heard the verdict through a legal assistant. He didn't just handle it, he commanded it. Leland said nothing. Just looked out the window. That night, a tweet went viral. Judge Brooks said 40 words in 6 hours and dismantled an entire FRAUD ring. Hashtag the silent hammer at home. Brooks read quietly. No TV, just briefs. His phone buzzed with texts from law students, other judges, even a former mentor. He replied to none. He simply circled a line in a deposition, then underlined it twice. If you know the law, you don't have to yell it. Elsewhere, a young black intern updated her journal. Today, I watched a man who looks like me control a courtroom that didn't want to be controlled. He didn't smile. He didn't break. He didn't beg. He just proved it. And in the HR office, the anonymous email about Brooks? It disappeared. Quietly. No one mentioned it again. The system had tried to nudge him out. Now, it had to catch up, close the door. The voice was flat, familiar, from the center of the wood-paneled room where 4 senior judges sat 2 in. Robes, 2 without. Behind them, law books lined the shelves like silent witnesses. Judge Brooks stepped inside, calm, silent. The youngest man in the room, but the one everyone was watching. Leland gestured to a chair. Have a seat. Brooks didn't sit. You've made quite a stir, said Judge Renard. The Worth incident. The fraud case. And now the public seems to think you're some kind of reformer. Brooks, I didn't ask for attention. Maybe. Not, but you're drawing it, Leland said. From the press. From activists. From Washington. Judge Halston leaned forward, voice lowering. You need to understand something, Elijah. The judiciary runs on rhythm, on tradition, and you're disrupting it. By following the law? Brooks asked. A pause. Tight air. The judges glanced at each other. Renard spoke again. This building has rules, unspoken rules, hierarchies, relationships. You can't just walk in and rewrite the temperature of the room. Brooks finally sat, his voice dead calm. Gentlemen, I don't control the temperature. I just stopped pretending it was warm when it wasn't. Silence. Halston, you've embarrassed senior prosecutors. Created discomfort with veteran staff. One of the officers, Jennings, filed a memo accusing you of being hostile to tradition. Brooks, was that before or after he racially profiled me in the lobby? Leland snapped. You're not here to lecture us. Brooks leaned forward, voice steady. Then why am I here? No one answered. Brooks stood. If you're asking me to shrink, you've wasted your time. I will not apologize for clarity or for fairness. If that makes people nervous, maybe they were never stable to begin with. Renard's jaw clenched. You want to keep your position, Judge Brooks? You learn to play the room. Brooks adjusted his coat. Calm, measured. I don't play the room. I hold the room. He walked out without waiting to be dismissed. As the door clicked shut, Halston muttered, He's not afraid of any of us. Leland's reply was ice cold. Then he's more dangerous than we thought. That evening, the meeting memo was leaked anonymously. Judge Elijah Brooks was summoned to a private review by senior judges today. No formal action taken. Tone described as tense. Social. Media lit up. He walked into a room full of power and didn't flinch. They tried to corner him quietly. He walked out louder than ever. Meanwhile, in chambers, Brooks opened a new case file. His clerk hovered nervously. Sir, they'll come harder now. This wasn't a warning. It was a first strike. Brooks didn't look up, just replied, Let them swing. I don't fight with fear. I fight with record. And across the courthouse, the whispers had changed tone. From mocking to curious. From judgmental to loyal. The sign outside read, We stand with Judge Brooks, painted by hand. Propped up against the courthouse gate. Below it, a quiet group of young professionals stood shoulder to shoulder. Law students, activists, even an off-duty officer in uniform. No chance. No noise, just presence. Inside, Dean Worth stood behind tinted glass, staring. They think he's some kind of hero, he muttered. His assistant replied, "Maybe he is." Brooks entered the courthouse like he always did, no press, no entourage, just his files, just his pace. But this time, the nods came quicker. The hallway paused longer. A janitor gave him a salute. A white clerk offered coffee, trembling. I watched your ruling last night," she stammered. "My father," he cried. Brooks simply nodded. "Thank you." In chambers, a new envelope waited. No return address. Inside, a typed note. "I'm not brave like you, but watching you makes me want to be. Thank you for making this place feel less hollow." He folded it once, placed it behind his badge, and said nothing. At noon, a city councilwoman arrived unannounced. Dark green suit. Clear voice. "I don't need a headline," she told the front desk. "I just need 5 minutes with Judge Brooks." In chambers, Brooks looked up as she entered. "Councilwoman Jordan, you know me? I remember the speech you gave about closing the juvenile lockup on 8th. You were the only one who said, 'This isn't reform, it's responsibility.'" She smiled. "I came for one reason, Judge." She sat, crossed her legs slowly. "People are watching, and they need to know the law still belongs to them. That a courtroom isn't just punishment, it can be justice." Brooks waited, silent, steady. "I want to support you," she said. "Publicly, but only if that won't do more harm than good." He leaned back. "Councilwoman, the people already know I'm not here for applause." "I know," she paused. "But power doesn't shift unless someone turns on the lights." He nodded just once, then flipped a switch. By that evening, her press secretary posted a short clip. No slogans. No filter. Just Councilwoman Jordan outside the courthouse. "When a black judge speaks the truth and the system tries to silence him, I will not be quiet. I stand with Judge Elijah Brooks." The post exploded. Retweets, hashtags, lawyers quoting him, professors analyzing his tone, students writing essays titled "The Silent Gavel." Dean Worth paced his office. His phone kept buzzing. Are we backing down? Why is he winning this? Fix this now. Meanwhile, in a break room, Officer Jennings scrolled past the clip, paused, rewound it, stared at the judges. Face still, confident, untouchable. He closed the app and walked back to his post, silent, smaller. Judge Brooks never looked at the comments, never tweeted, never even mentioned the post. But the courthouse felt different now, like it was holding its breath, waiting to exhale, breaking. Allegations surface against Judge Elijah Brooks. Anonymous source claims past misconduct. The headline hit like a punch to the gut. Local news. Shared within minutes. No evidence, no court documents. Just grainy. Photos of Brooks from college arms around friends, drink in hand, and an anonymous voiceover claiming questionable behavior. In chambers, Brooks stared at the screen, unblinking. UNBOTHERE did. His clerk gasped. Sir, they're saying you covered up an incident in law school. They're calling it a pattern of silence. There was no incident, he said flatly. I know. So does the Bar Association. Meanwhile, behind a frosted glass office door marked Public Relations Court Division, a different conversation happened. It doesn't have to be true, one man said. It just has to linger. He's too clean, another muttered. This is the only shot we've got before he becomes untouchable. Then make it stick. Spin it. Smear it. Distract long enough for the board to stall his next appointment. But what they didn't plan for was who'd fire back first. That evening, Councilwoman Jordan took the mic at a live press event broadcast citywide. I've reviewed the allegations against Judge Brooks, she said. There is no evidence, just a smear campaign from those afraid of a man they couldn't control. She held up a manila file. This contains Brooks' entire academic record, his law school citations, and 3 letters of recommendation from judges still on this bench. I received it directly from his alma mater this morning. Gasps, flashbulbs, phones out. The crowd leaned forward. He's not hiding, she continued. They are. Social media blew up. Again. They tried to play dirty. She played receipts. Judge Brooks, 1, lie 0. In the hallway the next morning, even Jennings tight-lipped and bitter stepped aside silently as Brooks walked in. No glare, no snarl, just resignation. In the elevator, a young prosecutor whispered, "They tried everything, and he's still here." Another replied, "Because he never had to shout. He just showed up." Later that day, Brooks was handed a sealed envelope from the Chief Justice's desk. Inside, all inquiries dropped. No findings. No further review. His clerk smiled. "That's it?" Brooks nodded. Folded the letter once. Tossed it in the drawer with the others. "That's it." He returned to his bench like nothing happened. But the courthouse had changed. Asterisk asterisk now, when he entered, people didn't just watch. They stood. They straightened. They stayed quiet, not in fear, but in respect. "This isn't about race," Judge Leland insisted, voice echoing through the city council chamber. "It's about protocol, about temperament, about whether Judge Elijah Brooks truly understands the weight of his office." Cameras flashed. Press lined the walls. Council members sat in a semicircle like lions deciding who lives. Brooks entered, with a black folder and no lawyer, no tie today. Just the robe. Just the badge. Councilwoman Jordan was already seated beside him. No expression. Just fire in her eyes. The moderator cleared his throat. "Judge Brooks, do you have anything to say before we begin questioning?" Brooks stood, looked at no one. "Only the center. No statement," he said. "Just facts. Fact," he began. "Officer Jennings filed a complaint against me. It was dismissed for lack of merit." He pulled out document 1, placed it neatly before the panel. "Fact. Dean Worth accused me of bias during a trial. Transcripts show every objection I ruled on was legally sound and reviewed by a superior." Another paper, another pause. "Fact, the so-called college incident. Investigated twice, dismissed both times. I graduated summa cum laude." He laid out a letter from the university's dean, signed and sealed. The silence thickened. "Fact," he said again. "I have ruled in 312 cases, 0 reversals, 0 ethical violations. Not one recusal. The room was a stone garden. No movement. No breathing. If this panel is asking whether I'm qualified..." He leaned in. "Then you're not listening to my record. You're reacting to my reflection." A councilman shifted. "You're implying bias?" Brooks didn't blink. "I'm not implying anything. I'm proving it." He pulled out one final sheet, a transcript of an email leaked days ago. His tone is uncomfortably direct. His manner makes some of us feel exposed. Internal email, Judicial Committee. Member Brooks read it aloud, slowly. "The truth makes you uncomfortable? That is not my flaw. That is your mirror." Councilwoman Jordan folded her hands, looked left, then right. Motion to close the review. No findings. No violations. Full public statement of support. The moderator swallowed. "Is that your recommendation?" She nodded. "That's my duty. Vote 6 in favor. 1 abstained. 0 opposed." Outside, the media waited for a quote. Brooks walked past them. Silent. One reporter shouted, "Do you feel vindicated, Judge?" He paused, turned. "I wasn't fighting for me. I was fighting for the next man who walks through that lobby and doesn't look like your idea of power." That clip went viral within hours. "I wasn't fighting for me." Judge Elijah Brooks, the smear collapsed. The noise stopped. What remained? A man, a bench, a standard they could no longer ignore. All rise for the Honorable Judge Marissa Hawley. The room stood. Cameras clicked. A sea of black robes, white collars, and polished shoes. Judge Brooks stood near the back. No fanfare, no introduction. Just his hands folded, coat pressed, and expression calm. He wasn't here to speak. He was here to watch someone else step forward. Judge Hale Black, mid-30s, sharp-eyed, walked slowly toward the bench. She paused. Mid-step, turned, and faced the crowd. "Before I take this seat," she said softly, "I need to acknowledge the man who made it possible." The room shifted. Judges looked around. Whispers. "Who?" "Judge Elijah Brooks," she said clearly. "I watched you when they tried to silence you. I studied you when they tried to break you, and because you didn't bend, I stand here today." All heads turned. Brooks stood frozen. He shook his head gently, no gesture needed. But Judge Hawley wasn't done. "They said you were too quiet, too firm, too direct." She smiled. "Funny. Those are the reasons I trusted the law again." Then something happened no one expected. Judge Renard, the same man who once tried to corner Brooks, stood up, quiet, respectful. One by one, the room followed. Black robes. White robes. Young, old. Even Deanworth. No words. No claps. Just standing. For him, Brooks didn't bow, didn't smile, didn't blink. He just gave one small nod and sat back down. Later that evening, he returned to chambers for the last time. Packed nothing. Just touched the corner of the bench once. His clerk asked, "Leaving it all behind?" He shook his head. Leaving it better. On the bench, someone had left a note. One line. Typed. Anonymous. "We didn't understand you at first, but now we use your silence as a standard." Outside, as Brooks walked through the lobby, Officer Jennings opened the door for him. No words. No tension. Just a small nod. This time, he stepped aside. And in the corner, that same wooden sign from weeks ago, faded now, but still standing. "We stand with Judge Brooks."